trying to get ourselves set up, because I'm in the process of needing to find a new home, and learning what I can about beginning to garden and growing food.
Who wants to take it?
I think she asked Drake.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's Drake?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I screwed that up. Oh, I can't walk in the other room. Hold on a minute.
You want me to repeat it?
I think he's switching phones.
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, anybody can answer it.
Timing.
If I get these two phones together, it's going to sound like a jet airplane landing. Would you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I'm just curious about the timing that we may have to get ourselves set up before we start seeing any significant changes with what's getting ready to take place.
Well, that's something everybody's asking me, and to be quite honest about it, things are in motion, and they're sensitive, and the safety of a lot of people rely on me not saying what I know. So therefore, I'm not going to give you an exact time. Now, involved in that is that I picked up snippets from different places. I did some checking to see what the sources were, and the sources are fairly good. And by fairly good, I mean something that I would bear in mind accordingly. I've heard several things. One, that the Joint Chiefs of Staff are not taking orders from Obama. That may be a two-way street. It could look good in terms of them following a directive, while at the same time, the people giving the directive could get a surprise when the troops turned around the other way. That sort of thing. That's one. Okay, number two, I heard that a source stated quite clearly that the people we are up against, who are in supposed control, have until the end of the month to resign and surrender. That's pretty strong. Third part of all this is that everybody's busy right now, and I'm looking at having communication in the next few weeks. This is supposed to go directly to a combination of tactical things and information that I can release. In other words, I'm not going to overstep any bounds and maybe jeopardize somebody's safety or screw the plan up simply because I feel this is about the last shot we got, and I want to make sure it comes out as great as it can, and I ain't going to be the one that's going to catch something in my zipper and mess it up. That ain't happening. So the ideology is that yes and yes. And thirdly, fourth, the people that we're up against have decided that sometime around the middle of the year, they're going to unleash what's called inflation. Now, I don't know if that means directly that they're going to take the cash that was used in the bailouts and put it into the market. I do not know if they're simply going to quit controlling the inflation rate. As they influence other markets, they also control the inflation rate, or what exactly they're planning to do. But I have heard that you can expect $15, $20 a gallon for gas, $10 a loaf for bread, that sort of thing. Supposedly. Take everything I'm telling you with a grain of salt. If a person wishes to make sure that they're not caught in something of that nature, that's what this show is about. You get a little preparation, buy that extra can of beans, that sort of thing, grow you a garden. Now, you're going to experiment and you're going to screw it up. Some plants in the same row are going to grow better than other ones. And what you got to do is pay real close attention as to what you did different between that plant and this one over here. It could be as simple as you water it first. Well, That's pretty simple. Start at the other end, water that end first a couple of times. Maybe everything will be all right. You don't know. I mean, and that's how much of an art it is to growing things. The other part of it is to grow hardy crops. Now, pick something that hasn't been messed with, and that's anything that is other than a plant once only seed. Stay away from Monsanto products if possible, because you don't know what they've done to them. The Royal line of seeds is one of the ones that refuses to comply with Monsanto. I can recommend those. Liberty Seeds is a place you can get that sort of thing. I mean, but overall, what you got to remember and think about is that out of everybody that we've talked to, and everybody who is finally waking up a little bit, you don't have enough of everybody yet. So it's an ongoing building process, and we've got to work towards a consensus or agreement between neighbors, between outside of town and inside of town, and this guy raises cows, and I run a hardware store, and how do the two come together? Well, you got Staples, and he needs fence. Real simple. Maybe he can trade you a cow. I mean, and it goes on from there. One thing I will tell you is that there are efforts internationally to take down the dollar. Okay? And by take it down, I mean take it down to zero value. It'll be worth the paper it's printed on. And the paper it's printed on is worth about 8 to 10 cents. You ain't going to believe it, but right now the dollar is 3, maybe 4 cents, if that. So what you're trying to accomplish has to be several things at the same time. The money's still good, so therefore use it as the tool that it should be used for instead of the weapon that everybody else uses it for. Try to do what Terry says and stay away from credit if you can, unless you have the capability of paying it off suddenly. Understand now, this is something everybody needs to look into. My research shows that, according to the agreements on all crediting of all kinds, my payment can be made in Federal Reserve notes, even if they're worthless. So you might think about being able to send in that roll of toilet paper that you saved in the shoebox that's hid under the refrigerator. That isn't worth anything to anybody but them. Mm-hmm. And they may argue about it, but you made the payment. What are they going to say? There's a lot of things that goes into this that nobody knows the answers to yet. Mm-hmm. Primarily because these things have not been worked out. You've got international agreements, you've got national agreements, you got all the treaties, executive orders, you've got them down to the local level, you've got United Nations agendas trying to be implemented on the people. The idea of destruction of society has moved away from cities a little bit into the rural areas so that they can screw up the food supply even more than it is. So all of these things are, in their own way, vital. But the basis for a real, true America that your grandma and grandpa might have mentioned in the days back when, me and Fred used to go over and take care of this guy because he couldn't take care of stuff. Mm-hmm. Just that simple, nothing complicated. And this is the idea of what we're talking about and what we're trying to deal with. We'd like to wake up as many people as possible, but the few of us, even on this radio show, may not be able to accomplish as much as we'd like. I'm not satisfied until everybody says, I heard you on the radio. Then I'll feel like I at least got the info out.
I think Henry Ford said it the best, and we all know that he knew what he was talking about. He said, "It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." The one aim of these financiers is world control by the creation of inextinguishable debt.
Yep.
Right.
Credit.
Yep. I kind of would like to get back and give Anita the floor for a little while longer, because we have callers calling in. Most of them were for you, Drake, and I'd like to let Anita go ahead and finish getting her stuff out at this point, her information, before we get it all posted up on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, Anita, you got the floor again.
Okay, great, thanks. If people who aren't on the computer would take time, I hope later, to Google this site, you will see this is a free site. This comes from Wikispaces. So let's just say you're concerned about local food, and you kind of understand you have a local sheriff, and hopefully a group of you will go to the local sheriff with the Sheriff Mack. We haven't talked about that, but he has a book that's available on his website that you can talk to your local sheriff, give him the book, and show him support. But when you get this page started and you say, okay, we're going to look at our local county, I'm going to start, my inventory, or I'm going to start looking at what is in my local county that people need to know. And whoever would take that responsibility could start this page, and you can just do each item in the left column is only a page. So you can start it with just very little, like, when the local farmers markets meet, and that could be your first item on the county webpage. The location of the county sheriff, who is he, the county commissioners, going to county commissioner meetings and see what they're up to, and you're probably going to be surprised. They're busy in their partnerships, in their public-private partnerships, and they're mostly right now they're working on Agenda 21, which of course Drake believes if this endless federal grant money dries up, they're going to be looking for a whole different way to manage your county. But this,
because that's a UN directive.
It's a UN directive, and I'm telling you, I've been to their meetings. They can't do much. The regional planning commissions and these municipalities, they aren't able to do much if they don't get those grants.
Yep.
With the strings attached.
I keep saying the minute the grants dry up, this whole relocalized county thing can actually start moving forward. And the more of us who understand our county, understand what kind of county we want. We want a county that's got good local businesses and good local food, and we all understand who the sheriff is, and he's controlling the crazy city cops who seem to be out of the control in many municipalities right now. But at least when you put up a little web page, you've got a starting point. When we did our inventory, I can't tell you how long it took us to figure out a starting point. At the time, I knew nothing about Wikispaces, not a thing. Had I known every little bit of information that I got, I could have shared with the others in the group. Their information they could have shared on this page, so that by the time a year went by, it would have been a lot further along than just sitting in my notebook. Mm-hmm. And the wiki, it's interactive too. So let's just say you go out and talk to your neighbors about local food. Well, there's nothing particular on this page that they can't enjoy looking at. You got a source. They may not remember in conversation all the places you told them that have local food, that we could support local food, all the great ideas about local food. I live in a big city. There are gardens everywhere, and a lot of them are wasting their time with flowers. That could all be food. So I'm just kind of maybe giving people an idea how to get started.
Another thing, Anita, that a lot of your food that you plant, actually, before it turns into food, it's beautiful flowers.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at your artichoke plants, or even your squashes. They have beautiful orange flowers or white flowers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, your tomatoes put off pretty little yellow